Happy Monday here on Chicago Bears Now. I am Harrison Graham. Welcome in as we had a busy weekend. We were live for close to 20 hours between Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Took yesterday off, although we still did UDFA coverage. No live show yesterday. Back today, our normal Monday time slot here on Chicago Bears Now. Appreciate everybody already hanging out, lighting up the chat. We'll start as we always do. Shout out your city. We'll get some shout outs going as well. We also got OG Jack Lauderay back in the building today. As most of you know, Nick Roloff is leaving Bears Now. He's staying at Chat Sports. He took our Dolphins Today on-air hosting job. We are going to do a farewell stream with Nick. Not sure when that's going to be. We thought it could be this Thursday, but with the NBA playoff schedule and the Heat still potentially in the playoffs by then, he might have Thursday off. So we're thinking probably next week. So stay tuned for that. We will announce when his farewell is. In the short term, Jack will probably be on Bears Now Live quite a bit. We'll see long term what that all looks like. We have a lot of moving parts here at Chat Sports, but Jack, you're our OG live producer. Welcome back for now.
Look, I'm happy to be here. Happy for Rolly. He's going to kill it on Dolphins, so that's going to be awesome. And of course, you know Papa Jack had to come back, help you guys out. But in all seriousness, happy to be back for a little bit. I'll be around for a little while, and we'll see what happens in the long term. But for now, I'm happy to be back. New era of Chicago Bears football. I remember 2 years ago, we were doing Thanks Nagy, and look at us now. We're on the come up.
I'm trying to think. So Rolly, when was the transition exactly from you to Rolly? Was it before the 22 season, those games in 22, or were you doing some of those games? Was it the middle of that season?
I think it might have been around the middle of that season. I don't remember exactly.
When you were still here, it was like early on in the flu era, I think. That's when you exited. So
I remember all the Thanks Nagys and all of that.
Oh, yeah.
Those were the days.
2021 was probably peak Jack Lauderay here on the show. So we've had a lot of every season's had some sort of a theme, and thanks Nagy, that was good stuff. Jeff says San Antonio. We got Mike in Wake Forest. We got Sharon in Nebraska City, Taka in Riverside, Frank in Schaumburg, Des Moines, Iowa from Terry. Caleb Williams going nuclear. Let's go, Isaiah. Bring back Jack. There's Arthur. What's up, Arthur? Tyler says Dallas. We got King in York, Pennsylvania. Greg in Merrillville. The Afterwards in Woodstock. The Honey Badger in Russell, Kentucky. Uncle in Albuquerque. Travis in Virginia. Justin in Atlanta. Tim in Bakersfield. James in Batavia. Mark in Longview. Bobby in Cincinnati, Ohio. A300 in Rockford. Will Walker in Memphis, Tennessee. Jack Matra says Caleb Offensive Rookie of the Year, Austin Booker Defensive Rookie of the Year. If Austin Booker wins Defensive Rookie of the Year as fifth-round pick, it's an absolute polls masterclass. Benjamin in Baltimore. Appreciate everybody, all 325 of you, for tuning in to today's live show. Grade the Bears draft, because we're going to react to Mel Kiper's grades here on today's show. A, B, C, D, or F. How do you guys think the Bears did? I gave the Bears a solid A. Straight up A for me. Mike and Jaron and Infinite all say A. Sam Lactera saying A+. Uncle Fuzzy says A. Time Man, the Buckeye, says A. Denise, another Josh Kyle, all saying A as well. So you get those grades. I'm going to get a few more shout-outs in a second. But Poppy Chulo Sit says, can we get a way too early 25 mock draft? That is in the works. I think Thursday's live show, we will do that. Thursday's live show, there's too many other segments I got to hit today, including Jealousy's Caleb Williams segment, which he got for being the Super Chat MVP a couple of weeks ago. It's time to finally get to that. But that will happen probably Thursday's live show. Poppy Chulo Sits. I think last year we did a 3-round mock draft way too early. I actually looked back at it. It was 3 rounds. And the picks were, I think, Dallas Turner, Brock Bowers, Cooper Beebe, And the fourth guy was Jack Sawyer, the Ohio State edge, who actually went back to school. So maybe he'll be in this one. Who knows? But, yeah, that was obviously a mock, thinking that if Justin Fields is a big third year, we'll use our own first-round pick and the Carolina pick to load up. But didn't work out that way. But I think we're all pretty happy with Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze. Lucas Praying, did you hear Cowherd's comments about the Bears today? He's now on the train after telling Caleb to pull a man on guy's a total clown. I will say this about Cowherd, and at times he's done stuff that I didn't understand, like the Eli stuff. That was messed up. Now at least he didn't double down like RG3 in that regard. But I will say this about Cowherd, and he said this a few weeks ago. He said, "Look, when I get new information, my take changes," and that makes sense, right? He said, "Look, after the Keenan Allen trade, this and that, like I like what Poles is doing, and then after this draft, he really likes the direction they're in." So I definitely don't always agree with the guy, but I respect that he won't stick to a take just for the sake of it, even if the picture changes. So kudos to him. I did tweet this out earlier. I was like, I mean, if Cowherd's on board, I mean, look out. The Bears, the excitement around this team is going to be palpable. Isaac Siegel, I think people forget some of the games against the Rams when they had Hecker the punter and how we almost lost the 2018 game by being backed up FGB. I don't know. Obviously, you're tying this into the Tory Taylor pick. Yeah, I mean, look, especially in the cold months and when even if this offense is going to be awesome, like there will be games where it's still knuckle fights and a field position game. So, yeah, having a more reliable punter is critical. The Taylor pick has grown on me. I never disliked it. I just thought at the time there were better players you could take. But when you traded back in and got Austin Booker, I was cool with it. So that's a guy I would have taken at 122. And more advanced Trenton Gill stats came out. He was literally the worst punter in the NFL last year. And so, like, if it wasn't Tory Taylor, you needed to upgrade somewhere else. And who are you going to find? I guess a different UDFA perhaps. But, look, fourth round's a little rich, but I also know that GMs and scouts and draft analysts league-wide will tell you that this was about a 4 or 5 round draft. Not many players in the 6th or 7th round are viewed as major NFL contributors. Isaiah Blueball says, been waiting to draft an Iowa guy. Can't wait to get my Tory Taylor jersey. I'll tell you what, Tory Taylor will have the most sold punter jersey in the NFL. I feel confident in that. Any word on what number he will be? Go Hawks. I have not seen that, Isaiah. I don't think Tory Taylor is going to be at the front of the line in terms of choosing his number. We'll see. We'll see. What if he chooses Trenton Gill's number? If Trenton Gill gets cut, that'd be kind of savage, but we'll have to see how it goes. Ogeezer Kiran Jr. helped some draft picks might contribute. Junior. What are we talking about here? Someone want to help me out from Ogeezer? Someone want to help me out? Can you clarify in the chat, Ogeezer? I'll be keeping an eye on it. Blue Dot Inc. Am I crazy for thinking Jaden Daniels will be a bust? I mean, look, 6 quarterbacks went in the top 12. History tells us that at least 3 will bust. Now, maybe it's a really good year and only like 2 bust, but chances are at least 3 will. So, yeah, a lot of busting, as producer Jack just said. So, yeah, I mean, I would say, if I had to say right now the ones that I think will succeed, I think Caleb will. I'll say this, I'm not a big JJ guy. I think he went to a great situation, so I think he'll at least be solid in Minnesota. But I'm still glad they got him and not Drake May. Drake May in Minnesota would have scared me, really. But, man, New England, I mean, I like what their GM's doing. I have question marks about that coaching staff. I think they should sit May for a year. That's what I would do if I was New England. So, yeah, I mean, Jaden, I don't love that situation. I know Bo Nix got Sean Payton, but I just don't think Bo Nix is that good. And then the Penix thing, I like Penix a lot, but it seems like there's going to be friction in Atlanta. I'm not sure how that all plays out. Now, maybe it just plays out in the sense that it doesn't work out for Cousins, but, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. All right, guys, you know the motto. Type FGB down in the comments down below. Ogeezer says Illinois kid. Oh, Keith Randolph Jr. Yeah, I think he makes the team. I just saw an article where the Bears gave him $220,000 guaranteed for a UDFA. That's a big UDF. So he's going to have an opportunity. At worst, he'll be on the practice squad. I thought he was worthy of being a 6th or 7th round pick. Travis, that's good stuff. But yeah, I like Keith Randolph Jr. I put a short out a little bit ago. I think the Bears the last 2 years have had at least one UDFA make the roster with Jack Sanborn and Tyson Bagent. They also picked up a couple 2 years ago, and Josh Blackwell and Jalen Jones. I think if there's one this year, it's Keith Randolph Jr. I think he could be your 4th defensive tackle and maybe your backup 3 tech behind Javon Dexter. We got J69, Nathan, Tyler, Sherf Dog, Richard, Ty, and Mark Cox. We got Brian, Gene Waldman, MVP, Mark, Foxtrot, Ty Man, the Buckeye as well. Matt Nagy says, boom, Nagy's back, boys. Thanks, Nagy. Another Josh says, watch him in person, he's a beast. I liked this film, man. I'm surprised he fell out of the draft. Let's see. Mike, we got DC. Keep the FGBs rolling. Juggalotus. What's up, Juggalotus? Rudy, Gunga. We got Hennessy, Corin, Gene. Let's freaking go. Let's make it happen. If you love the Bears, like the video. We should get to 200 likes. Got almost 500 people watching. Let's get to 200 likes. We would appreciate it. We would appreciate it. Shout out to Travis Manny. We got, yes, Trump in there as well. Bill Brasky, Tim Tynan, DC, JJ Styles. Thank you, Lovey Smith. Yes, thank you, Lovey Smith. Go like the video. Yeah, Jack was with us, and we actually were in L.A. for the miraculous Davis Mills Hail Mary. That was Butterfly Effect 101. You'd love to know if that's not caught, what it all means. I think the Texans draft Bryce Young. I still think the Bears trade down with Carolina, but do they get the same level of a haul being at the 2 pick instead of 1? I don't know, Jim. You just don't know. All right, here's what's coming up. Hit that like button if you haven't already. We're going to get into Mel Kiper's Bears draft grades. We'll hit the super chat real quick as well in a second. Some Bears free agent targets, post-NFL draft edition, a few players that I'm still interested in. And then what does Caleb Williams need to do? Jealousy was our super chat MVP a couple weeks ago. He said, what does he need to do to justify staying at 1 and pass on the opportunity of trading down for a haul? I'll kind of take a two-pronged approach at that, both short-term and long-term, of what I need to see out of him and what he needs to produce in terms of making that decision justifiable. So we'll get into all that coming up in a moment. But real quick, Isaac Siegel says, also as a Bears fan in mid-Wisconsin, I'm so sick of hearing how, I can't wait for Caleb Williams to bust just like everyone they pick. Can't wait to shout FGB. That's right, Isaac. It's our time. Let's make it happen right freaking now. Let's go. Mel Kiper draft grades for the Bears coming up, and I got some thoughts, so stay tuned. Mel Kiper draft grades are out, and he has handed them out for all 32 teams, including the Chicago Bears. We react here on Bears Now by Chat Sports. My name is Harrison Graham. I got to be honest, a B grade for the Bears is just disrespectful, and I'll explain why throughout this video. Here's how he started his reasoning for this grade. He said the Bears came in round 1 with the chance to change the trajectory of their franchise after years, decades, even of quarterback futility. They traded away Justin Fields, clearing the path to take Caleb Williams at number 1. Chicago also owned the number 9 pick, but the reality is it had just 2 other selections heading into the draft, the fewest of any team in the league. Sure, Ryan Poles had a nice offseason, filling holes in free agency and via trades, but how much better could the Bears get with just 4 picks? This makes no sense whatsoever. Well, first of all, if your quarterback is a lot better than the last quarterback, that alone is going to make you a better team. And just because you have less picks doesn't mean it should hurt the grade as a whole. If you have really good picks in those 4 or 5 picks, that should help the grade say, whoa, he maximized or close to maximize those opportunities. You look at the Bears draft class. I mean, Caleb Williams and Odunze alone should give this a grade in the A's somewhere, even if it's an A-. You bring in Kiran Amegadjie as well as a high upside player at offensive tackle. Yes, Tory Taylor, there's conflicting opinions on that. I've come around on it. I don't love it, but I like the pick. It's a clear upgrade. It's a clear starter in the 4th round, which you're not going to find usually. And then Austin Booker, a guy that could have been in range at 75, falls almost 70 picks later as a solid pass rusher out of Kansas. And look, it'd be one thing if outlets everywhere were kind of B, B minus, B plus, but how about 10 other national outlets giving the Bears at least an A minus? Associated Press, Sports Illustrated, The Ringer, USA Today, all A plus. Bleacher Report, PFF, Yahoo Sports, all A. CBS Sports, Fox Sports, NFL.com, A minus. Our main Chat Sports YouTube channel, not even me, gave the Bears an A. I gave them an A, but take me out of it. There's 10 other outlets, A minus or better. Point is, Kiper's on an island here. Like, he is the only notable national draft analyst that is giving this a B. Not even a B plus, a B. I don't understand. And look, our draft grades kind of, I don't want to use the word dumb, but silly to an extent. Of course they are, because it's all a projection. We haven't seen them play yet. But for what the projection is and the players they got, especially the 2 in the top 9, a B grade is just silly, if we're being completely honest. If you disagree with Mel Kiper, type boo in the chat. Kind of like how we boo Roger Goodell on draft night. You can boo Mel Kiper for this draft grade. He continues here by saying, Williams, the number 1 player on my big board, is an elite talent who will be surrounded by a great group of playmakers, which now includes wideout Odunze, who finished number 4 on my big board. As I wrote Thursday night, he's going to be able to hit the ground running in Chicago. So now I'm confused. It's like he's reverting. It's like, oh, wait a second. Isn't that the whole point of what the Bears needed to do in this draft? Is like, hey, let's get Caleb Williams and do everything we can to help him. So not only did they do that in the offseason, which I'm taking that away from this, but you get Keenan Allen, which in a way should count as with one of your draft picks. You get DeAndre Swift. I get that's free agency. But you get, Kiper said it himself, the number 4 player in this draft, according to him. Me, I had, maybe 5 or 6. It's still top 5, 6 player at number 9 overall. And Rome Odunze, who I agree is going to help him even more, along with Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, and company. Like, I just don't understand this, like, this thinking from Kiper. Like, you got 2 top 4 players on your board going to one team. The rest of the draft almost shouldn't matter when handing out a grade. A team gets 2 top 4 players, like that should be an A grade alone. So I just don't get what Mel Kiper's thinking here when he hands out this grade. More reaction and thoughts as he handed out some analysis for the rest of the picks as well. But first, I do have to shout out PrizePicks, our sponsor here on Chicago Bears Now. The NBA playoffs are well underway as the first round is kind of midway toward the end of some of these series. One series is already ended, but plenty of action to get involved on. The stakes have not been higher this season. Why not get in on them at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get a deposit match up to $100. Here is what I have tonight. Just a simple 2-player entry. They're giving you a deal on Brandon Ingram, 16.5 points. I'm taking the more there. Pelicans trying to stave off elimination against the Thunder. You got to think Ingram's going to come out firing. Jokic and the boys are going to close out the Lakers tonight. 51.5 points, rebounds, assists. I like the more there as well. He's going to light up the stat sheet. 10 to win 30 is 2-player entry. Gets 3 times your money when you fire it away. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get a deposit match up to $100. Some extra free play to get used to daily fantasy sports. And no one does it better than PrizePicks. 3 million users active on a daily basis. You should be one of them. Link and promo code in the comments, description, live chat if you're watching live right now. Go ahead and click and get started today. Okay, Mel Kiper on the other Bears draft picks here. He says, after that, Poles was able to add a 5th rounder, but still only had 5 picks. Kiran Amegadjie at 75 is a project offensive tackle coming off a partially torn quad injury. His physical traits are intriguing. He also said, I didn't love a team with only a handful of selections taking a punter in round 4, which that's fair. I had that thought as well. But at least Tory Taylor was the best at his position, also my thought. Austin Booker at 8 sacks last season could be a situational pass rusher. So, look, I agree with some of those points. Like, you could argue that the punter thing was probably not the best thing the Bears could have done, but I also understand it too, considering how bad Trenton Gill has been. But like you look at this, you get an elite 1-2 punch with Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze. High upside offensive tackle. Yeah, partially torn quad, not great, but the Bears are big on medical evaluations. They rescinded a contract for Larry Ogunjobi. They're clearly comfortable with where he's at, and his physical traits are off the charts. He could be a potential starter down the road. You get a massive upgrade at punter, and Adam Hogue of CHGO, who's a special teams high school coach, said he could be top 5 in the league right away. Plus, an upgrade at pass rusher, like upside pass rusher with Austin Booker, who he's probably not a week 1 starter or a day 1 starter, but he's a rotation guy. He's better than Dominic Robinson. So I like what they did with what they had as well. And I'll even add the cherries on top here in a second of why this should have been an A grade overall. But if you want to go check out our grades, go do that. I broke out every single pick, every single player of this draft class by Ryan Poles. Also did a UDFA tracker, all of the signings the Bears made post-draft. And this morning, handed out some UDFA grades. That player right there, not going to tell you his name here. A lot of you should know him. I think he's got a shot to make this football team. So go check out our recent content. Hit the subscribe button. It's under the content tab. You see those thumbnails, you'll know you're in the right place. And I don't think you can forget about these guys. You traded your second-round pick for Montez Sweat, who transformed this defense, and you locked him down to a below-market contract extension. Really well done. You get Keenan Allen for a 4th. Yeah, and maybe a 1-year rental. We'll see. But I would still make a strong argument that a 4th-round pick's worth it to help develop your rookie quarterback. And then Ryan Bates, who could end up being your starting center. We'll see. He could also play guard. He could either start or be a backup. He's either going to be a starter or your top interior backup. Got him for a 5th. Like, my conclusion is, look, the on-field play will obviously look back on and determine whether or not this was a good draft, a good offseason, et cetera. But it's kind of hard to question what Ryan Poles has done in terms of building this roster. We saw last year the teams make steps. The team on paper this year is way better than what it was when the season ended. It's going to come down to this new offensive coaching staff to get the most out of Caleb and the boys, and for the defense to continue to take steps and improve and becoming a dominant unit. If those things happen, I think this is a playoff team in 2024. But we'll have to wait and see. Mel Kiper, B grade. I don't know. I disagree pretty wholeheartly. How would you grade the Bears offseason as a whole? A, B, C, D, or F? I'll go A minus. You would have liked to get more out of Justin Fields, but I think that was mostly out of your control. But I think it's been pretty damn good overall, and I am very excited about where this team is heading. All right, give us a follow on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at HGramNFL. DMs are open. We could talk ball. I'm always tweeting about the Bears, so if you want to give me a follow, I would appreciate it. Trying to get to 10,000 followers on Twitter. All right, Gunga says A minus. Sean says A. Jose A plus. F from Let's See How It Goes. I'll see how it could be an F. J69 A. Trump A. Another Josh A. Richard A plus. Pro gave an F. Rowdy says A. Effing fantastic. F for fantastic works, if that's what you're going for. Jason for A minus. Dan says JF stinks. I'm not here to rip Justin Fields, but it was time to move on. Tyrone says A. Dan, Z-Man A. Bobby says B. A with about 20 pluses from Parallel. Yeah, it's a good grade. It was a good offseason. Couple super chats, and then we will get to our next segment. Paul Dow, excited about this draft class. More excited for Rome than even Caleb. Nor a knock on Caleb, just a lot of love for Rome. He's a monster. Yeah, I think also, Paul, if not to think for you, but I think there's been a sentiment of that out there just because we kind of knew that Caleb was the pick for a while. We didn't know if Rome Odunze would get to 9, and if he did, if the Bears would take him. Not only did he get there, they made the smart choice of taking him. So, yeah, I think there is just more natural excitement of like, holy shit, we got this guy too? Like, for me, that's where that's come from. And I put it on my Instagram, my Twitter, and the YouTube short of my raw live reaction with Rolly of when they drafted Rome Odunze. I think I said, it's Rome fucking Odunze. Because I was just like, okay, it actually happened. Like, we knew Caleb was happening. Once Justin got traded, I mean, I knew that before then. I think a lot of you guys did too. But once Justin got traded, it was official then. But then when you get on the clock at number 9, when Michael Penix went to the Falcons, me and Rolly are like, holy shit, this could happen. Like, they could take Rome Odunze, and that's exactly it. 4-0 object. That was it was fun. The voice did crack, Johnny. And then later I said, Rome Odunze to Chicago. Hey, that's natural raw reaction, baby. It was a whole lot of fun. Appreciate you guys. If you want a super chat, we'll get your questions on the show. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. All right, let's take a dive back into NFL free agency. You see a lot of teams kind of poke around after the draft, what needs still need to be filled. Obviously, there's a lot of time between now and training camp, so it's not like teams are in a rush, but you could see the Bears get a little active there, so we'll do that here coming up on Chicago Bears Now. Before we dive into some Bears free agent targets after the 2024 NFL Draft, holy crap, the Raiders Report has made a push. It is the last day of April, depending on when you're watching. This could be second to last day of April. We got to finish strong. I want to beat the Raiders Report in new subscribers this month. We're just under 100 away. Can we get there? Free Bears content every single day here on Chicago Bears Now. I'm Harrison Graham. Welcome into Bears Now by Chat Sports. We are going to take a look at some top Bears free agent targets following the NFL Draft. This is when teams start to poke around free agency again, some veterans out there to see what final touches they want to make to their roster between now and training camp. You look at what the Bears did in the NFL Draft. Caleb Williams, Rome Odunze, the headliners there, the quarterback and wide receiver combination. Kiran Amegadjie, the offensive tackle out of Yale. You get Tory Taylor, the punter out of Iowa, to upgrade from Trenton Gill. Rotational pass rusher Austin Booker is going to help at edge as well. The way I see it, this is how I look at the top Bears needs at this point in time. I still think defensive tackle. I like Keith Randolph Jr., the undrafted free agent out of Illinois. I think he could push for a roster spot, but if there's a piece to be added there, I think that would be a nice addition, although I think it's pretty thin at that position at this point in time. Edge, you could still add a veteran edge. You could bring back Yannick Ngakoue. There's other guys out there. We'll talk about a few here on today's show. Center, I tend to think the Bears are going to roll with what they got. Coleman Shelton and or Ryan Bates. One of those guys is going to start, which is fine. I think for short term, you can get by with that. I still think long term, you need a better solution there. Offensive guard, you got your top 2 starters, but you could certainly add some depth there. Bates could be that insurance too, since he has that positional flexibility. And then tight end, you got your top 2 guys, but you need number 3 after Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett. So I think those are a few positions to keep in mind as we progress in the offseason. Now, what do you think is the Bears' biggest need post-NFL draft? What say you? Let us know in the comment section down below what you think the Bears' biggest need is. Let's start with the veteran and OG, Calais Campbell, the defensive lineman who spent last season with the Atlanta Falcons. Look, Calais Campbell would be great. He might be my top guy at this point in time. He's going to be 38 this season, so yeah, he's up there. But you know what? The guy is still productive, especially these last 2 years. He kind of started to slow down, and then last 2 years he ramped it back up. 6.5 sacks last year in Atlanta, 5.5 sacks the season before as well in Baltimore. 12 sacks over 2 years. Still played a good amount of snaps a year ago, over 700, and played in all in 17 games. And I like the fit too. He's played in 3-4 schemes recently, but in this 4-3, he could play some edge. He could play some 3-tech for you as well. Kind of view him as like your fifth defensive lineman, right? Where, he's can play both spots, edge and defensive tackle, and he'll rotate in a lot and play. And I think he would offer a lot of wisdom to some young guys in that locker room. If you could bring Calais Campbell in here, I think, he would help on the field, and I think he'd help in that locker room tremendously as a leader and a resource for some young players. Carl Lawson might be my top edge rusher left, certainly one of them. There's another name we'll talk about later on that's in that conversation as well. Now, last year, dealing with the back issue, didn't have a sack in 6 games played. So, you would certainly want to look into that medical outlook for him. But he's a guy who's been a solid pass rusher in the past, still not super old, so certainly a player I would be intrigued with. How about a wild card here? How about Connor Williams, who's been a center the last few years, but he's been a starting guard in this league as well back in his days with the Dallas Cowboys. Now he is recovering from an ACL surgery, so it's kind of unknown when he's going to be ready. That's why he hasn't signed yet. Some thinks he could miss week 1, so maybe he's a guy you sign later on, depending on how you feel about Coleman Shelton and or Ryan Bates as you look at this offensive line. But I don't know, even if his progression is slow and he's not ready to play right away, maybe you sign him and he's just a backup, and then once he's healthy, he can start at guard or he can start at center. And look, we know Tevin Jenkins typically misses some time. Nate Davis has a history of missing games as well, and this guy is a starting caliber center and guard. And if healthy, he is an upgrade over Coleman Shelton and Ryan Bates at center, in my opinion. Now, does that mean the Bears are going to go sign him? No. They traded for Bates for a reason. They brought in Shelton for a reason. I wouldn't expect this to happen, but I'd be interested once he got healthy, if the price tag wasn't that much, of bringing this guy in because he has versatility, because he can start or be a backup and be a quality player nonetheless. Would you sign Connor Williams? Let me know. Type Y for yes or type in for no. I would, unless he commanded, $8 million or something like that. If it's like $3 million because he's could miss week 1, I don't see where the harm is. You could bring back your old pal, Yannick Ngakoue, who, of course, played last year with the Bears, played in 13 games before having a nasty ankle injury. 4 sacks in 13 games seems decent, but if we're looking at this objectively, he was not a very good player last year, and he's not that good anymore. Now, if you want to bring him back for $2-3 million, $4 million, I'm fine with that. I just don't think he's a starter. He could be a guy you bring in on third down to rush the passer. He's still okay in that regard, but the advanced numbers show he's not that effective anymore. I thought he played a tick better once Montez Sweat came on board, but when they signed him to $10.5 million last year, I think the expectation was a lot more production. Quite frankly, I would much rather bring back. That is Mercedes Lewis, the tight end who spent last season with the Chicago Bears as well. Mercedes Lewis, who, of course, has been around the block. He's an older 38 years old, but I think as a tight end 3, he could be really, really effective in that regard. Now, is he going to be some franchise-changing piece? No, but I think we saw last year that in his role, he can still be very, very effective. Mercedes Lewis is still one of the better blocking tight ends in the NFL. Cole Kmet's on the record saying how valuable he was in this Bears locker room, and I think he would be an excellent, excellent piece once again here in 2024. Now, does he want to keep playing? He said at the end of the season he does. Does he want to come in here with the new offensive coaching staff? Seattle system, not crazy crazy different, I should say, compared to what Luke Getsy had. Obviously, Shane Waldron more accomplished than Luke Getsy as well. Sorry, guys, if you're here with us. We're working through some technical issues. Seems like you guys can hear me, but we're not able to change the graphics. Still going here. But Mercedes Lewis is a player that obviously brings a lot of experience to the table in a multitude of regards. All right, we'll pause there for those watching live. We'll continue here moving forward. Let us know what you guys are seeing on your end. I just don't think we can change the screen. The Ngakoue note on screen. Let's see here. Let's get a little FGB chant in the comments. I'll get some shout-outs going here. Going to try to fix some tech issues behind the scenes. Let's see here. Shout out to Travis. Yeah, we're working on it. Shout out to Paul Hall, another Josh, OG, Josh, Ron Winarski, Erica, Mike. We got Bill, Jonathan, Wasim. Appreciate that, Mr. Fencer. RJ, we got Bill Brasky, Often, Forno Object, See You Fine, Jossip, we got Wasim, Bill Brasky, Lacora, Jonathan, Johnny Dash, Illuminati, Jonathan Stone, La Baller, Jacob Akins, we got Joker. Let's see here. Blue, Ken, Seaback. Shout out to No Object again. Charles, Ken 1973, Levante. We got Luis, Trump, Johnny, Zach, Love Baller, Jay, Mark. We got Markel, Legit, Josh, Gunga, Corey, Peter. We got Sammy, Little Puppet. Shout out Little Puppet. Zachary, La Baller, Dysthmia, Ronald Jackson, Kyle Smith, Kamani Jackson. Let's see here. Henry Wallace. Opinions on Silas Bolden. Is that the old, let me make sure I'm thinking of the same guy here. Oh, he's the Oregon State receiver. I don't know if I have a strong receiver. Oh, he got, he transferred to Texas. Return specialist? I don't know. I haven't started my 2025 draft prep just yet. Jay Gary, Zachary, Tony. We got Dion, Kobe. Let's see here. Often imitated, never duplicated. Shout out to you. Zachary, still working on trying to figure out our graphics behind the scenes. A. Dominguez, Tony. Another Josh. Fields is where he needs to be, a backup. Well, we'll see. We'll see. We may have to just sign off, guys. Without getting too techie, it's the software needs a reset. So we may just have to shut it down for the day, for the stream. It is what it is. We had a fun draft. Our graphics have been working overtime the last 72 hours, so that's part of the deal. Legit, it actually does not work that way. This isn't a producer issue. This is a software just freezing up on us issue. Chummy, I'll read out your super chat just verbally here. Caleb Williams, any room for error? Team very good. How long? I mean, yeah, you got to give any rookie room for error. Like, he's not going to come in and be the best quarterback in the league right away. But it is what it is. What did Tyler say? All right, hang on. Tyler Kendrick said, what do you think of the NFL showing Guardian caps in game? Also, did you get my... Yes, I'm going to catch up on all of the DMs for the Super Chat winners, all that stuff. I'm actually off tomorrow. Off day tomorrow. Going to catch up on all that then. I will get back to you. So here's my take on the Guardian practice caps without knowing how effective they actually would be. I actually think linemen wearing them could make sense because A, no one cares about the aesthetics of offensive linemen, and B, they're the ones hitting each other in the head every single play. So I that would be my take on that. I don't want quarterbacks or skill players wearing them. It would just look unless they can make them look a lot better. I'm not sure what you guys just did, but they're trying something to save the stream. VLJ5 says this. Think about this. In the 2023 NFL Draft, Rome is first receiver grab, no question. Perfect fit for us. Also, we have a slew of picks in 25. That was a first-time super chatter, VJ, so here we go. There's 5 for you. Yeah, I said that. In a lot of other drafts, he would have been the top receiver taken, definitely last year. I mean, he was better than the top receivers last year. Blue Dot says only 3 of 11 picks in 22 panned out, quality over quantity. Yeah, I mean, look, that's what happens sometimes, right? Paul Dow, that's where we caught up. All right. So I assume this is a lost cause. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's almost. Is this a sign that we should not bring back Ngakoue? I think that's where we're at here. All right. Sorry about this, guys. Jealousy, if you're in there, we were going to do your segment here live. I will film it outside of live, or I could save it for Thursday. You in there, Jealousy? He's not in here today anyway. Maybe I'll save that segment for Thursday. So, yeah, bummer. All right. Chummy, you get the final word. So, 2 years, what if other rookies surpass? This segment I actually got ready due to jealousy. I think outlines it pretty well, so stay tuned for that. But, yeah, look, if after 1 year he's the second best rookie quarterback instead of the best, I don't think we should panic. But, yeah, I mean, there's certain thresholds which, if they're not met, that would obviously be a concern. All right, we're just going to have to sign off, guys. Apologies about this. We'll film some stuff off of live and get that published for you. Appreciate it. FGB's in the chat. Shout out to all of you. See you guys next time. Peace.